Very proud of our team this past weekend. Had a very hard-fought physical game against Auburn. Kids did a great job defensively. I thought we were outstanding in the game. Created a lot of negative plays, a lot of pressure on the quarterback. Played the ball very well, tackled for the most part very well. Offensively, moved the ball. Did score the touchdowns in the first half. Got him in the second. Played well. Got some stops at the end. Had a critical turnover, but overcame it. So faced some adversity. In hindsight, you'd love to play perfect, but in hindsight, I love the kids the way they adapted to all the adversity. Didn't get frustrated in the game when we had some opportunities early. Kept their poise, kept playing. Overcame a turnover at the end. Be able to run the football, put the game away. Do the things we did very sound in the kicking game. So very proud. Going to have to be this week because Arkansas is one heck of a team. Offensively, very dynamic, scoring points like crazy. Receivers, big, long, athletic, can run, great ball skills, young tight end can catch. And if they get Sanders back at running back, plus the other backs they have very well, and of course everything starts with KJ. KJ's a tremendous football player. Hard to get on the ground, makes throws, leadership, brings you back. I mean, there's nothing he doesn't do on the football field. I mean, tremendous player. Defensively, athletic. McLaughlin does a great job in secondary with the other guys back there. Linebackers are active, long, can tackle. Jeff Coat and Jackson, those guys can rush up front, create problems there. Special teams always do a great job. Kicker, punter, really good. Return guys, and they've taken one back for a touchdown already this year. So all three phases play very well. Sam's a heck of a football coach, does a great job. So we're going to have to play well. It's a rivalry game up there. It'll be a split crowd. So, very important game. It's the next game. And it's an SEC game, and it's an SEC West game. So, as I say, double whammy. So, questions?
We'll begin with Travis Brown of the Bryan College Station Eagle.
Hey, Jimbo, reports out there that Connor could be done for the year. Is there an update on his injury, and what's the new prognosis?
Yeah, it is. And, we, as I said in the press conference the other day, we thought everything was fine with having some pain. We'd x-rayed and MRI'd it. Didn't show anything. They thought it was just a normal sprain. He had some pain, so they got a CAT scan, and it showed some things in there that we'll have to go in and fix and get that done. So most likely be out. But, we feel very confident in Max. Max came in and played great. Unfortunately, we hate to lose Connor for our football team and for himself. But, like I said before, I think we have two starting quarterbacks and felt very good about that. And so we'll have to move on. But that's just where we're at.
And when was it that y'all finally got the final word that he might be out?
It was after. I don't know when it was. It was sometime the next Tuesday morning, I believe it was.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Next is Carter Carls at 24/7 Sports.
Hey, Jimbo. Just wanted to ask you about Max Johnson now being the starter. How did he kind of take that news that Connor's out for the year, and where's kind of your level of confidence of what he can accomplish for you guys this year?
Been a starter in this league, played a lot of football. Was 2-0 for us a year ago as a starter, and then unfortunately got hurt. Feel very confident, guys. I've said before, we have two starting quarterbacks. You see how they played in the game. Come out there and scored two straight drives. Really, a third drive we were going to score on too. Didn't let us back to a big one at the end. So I think we scored 3 touchdowns in 5 drives. Did a heck of a job in the game. Threw the ball very well, can distribute it, and understands our offense. And we're blessed to have him, and feel very confident in him. And we're going to keep right on pace.
And then I guess your two backups, Jalen Henderson and Marcel Reed, where are they kind of at in their development, and how ready do you feel like they are?
I've been taking reps and done a great job in practice, understand the offense, doing a really good job. I mean, they think they comprehend it. And, of course, Jalen's a little older, more mature as far as been in games or been around the game, and thought he had a great spring and a great fall camp himself.
And last one is Jalen, I guess, the backup now?
Yeah, right now he is, yes.
Thanks, Jimbo.
Next is Tom Murphy of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette.
Jimbo, what do you see as Arkansas's offensive identity? They haven't run it as well as they did last year. What do you see from what they want to do?
Score points and make plays. They do a great job. I mean, the quarterback's the central point of it. I mean, you got to remember, they had the same offensive line for basically 3 years. I mean, that's hard. I mean, I went through that too. I mean, those are big changes and things that go on. And then their running back has been hurt. So, I mean, but KJ can make plays. They're dynamic outside. They can run the football. I mean, they can run it, but they can throw it. They make plays. Every guy can catch the ball. They got great ball skills. The young tight end's doing a great job. And KJ just makes so many plays. It's so hard to get on the ground, whether he's running it with the quarterback runs, the design runs, or the scrambles, or the plays he makes. And I think they're dynamic, they're athletic, and they score points. And they're doing a really good job formationally, route-wise, scheme. I mean, I think they do a really good job.
You know, the Aggies have won 10 out of the last 11 games in this series. And I wonder, when you have a team's number, so to speak, do you carry some kind of confidence into a game like this when you beat them so often?
Every year is different, and every team is different. So, hopefully we can have confidence we're playing because of how we're playing this year. And like I say, last year's team doesn't affect this year's team. And so I think that's part of it. So we got it. It's a whole different year. So we're going to have to make sure we go, play well this week so we can have more success.
Next is Bob Holder, the Arkansas Democrat Gazette.
Hey, Jimbo. I guess you were at LSU when Matt Jones was playing quarterback for Arkansas.
Yep.
I know you were from the defense, but KJ, and I know you've already praised him quite a bit, but KJ's tied Matt for most touchdowns rushing and passing in school history, and assume he's going to break that record. I was wondering what you remember about Matt, and he's kind of a folk hero in Arkansas, and for KJ to maybe be on the verge of breaking a record Matt holds. What do you think about that?
Matt could fly. Matt was a high 4.3, low 4.4 guy that was 6'6", covered so much ground. And I remember KJ probably throws it more, and they put a lot more pressure on him to do it that way. But they had so many dynamic weapons back in those days. I remember those teams. They had great backs at that time, and him getting him on the ground. And he could fly, man. He just outran angles, and he, of course, then you'd play him all up there, and he'd throw the deep ball and hit you and hurt you. So, both guys are dynamic players. Both guys are big, fast, strong guys. Matt was probably faster. Not many guys were as fast as him. Some of the backs were. He was dynamic that way. But KJ throws the ball and so strong, and those two great players they've had, two dynamic players.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Next is Steve Moulton of WZZN.
Coach, always appreciate the time you give us. You mentioned it earlier here in the teleconference about not wanting, every year is different, obviously. But I did want to ask, how is this team different from last year's team in your perspective right now, Coach?
Which team?
This year's 2023 Aggies compared to the 2022.
Well, I think it's a lot more experienced. The experience and knowledge. The guys that have played in football games. You got an offensive line that all have played, have started. Quarterbacks that have, receivers that all have. Last year we didn't have that. We were playing tons of freshmen, tons of guys on defense, same way. You were playing lots of young freshmen, guys that understand. You can't put a price tag on experience. You can't put a price tag on being there and have known you can do it and how to do it. I think our knowledge, our confidence, I think we're a much better football team. I really do. And special teams in all three phases. But just the biggest thing, experience, knowledge, and getting guys back. We're two totally different mentality football teams, in my opinion.
And I heard both you and Sam talk about this game leaving Dallas. And I know you want to play as many home games as possible, but the uniqueness of having that split crowd of what we used to have in Birmingham with the Iron Bowl and a few others, of that kind of, it feels like college football needs more of this to me, Coach.
I don't mind it. I've never minded the game. I think it's great for the kids in this state and everybody else playing Jerry's World. One, because it's one of the best venues to play in. Now, I think Kyle's number one. But at the same time, that's where they grew up. A lot of these kids in Texas, wanting to play in the state championship games there and all that stuff. And it gets games up there, and it's not that bad. It gives you, like I said, the 50-50 atmosphere, the more bowl or playoff type game. So, I'm all for that too, but I understand why they're doing it. So, I play what they tell me.
Thank you, Coach. Best of luck.
Thank you.
That's going to be all for today, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we have another tough opponent this week in Texas A&M. Have a lot of respect for them, their coaching staff, their players. Very big team, very fast, very skilled team. We've only won one time in the last 11 tries. So it'll be a big for us to go down there and play well. It's a rival for us, and we're looking forward to it.
First up, we have Tom Murphy of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette.
You've seen the news about Connor Wigman today. I guess you were probably already kind of preparing for Johnson, but maybe your thoughts about the news on him and what you're going to see at quarterback.
Well, obviously, I hate it for Connor Wigman. I do. Was playing really well, and I'm sorry to hear that news. I really am. Fortunately for A&M, they have a wonderful backup quarterback and now starter in Max Johnson. Max played a lot of games. I remember him when he was in high school, whenever I was over at Georgia. But he's a very, very good quarterback. We obviously know he can run. They've run a lot of nakeds with him, a lot of boots with him, get him outside the pocket as well. But he's a fine quarterback, fine person, and I'm sure he'll do well just like he did last week when he went in against Auburn.
Okay, and your offense, I wonder if you feel like you're getting closer to establishing what your identity is on offense, and what do you want that to be?
I want to score as many points as we can. However, whatever the defense is giving us that particular day. Obviously, you want to be able to run the ball when when you want to run the ball, you want to be able to protect it and throw it. But I thought maybe Saturday night, with some of the things that we did, we were able to run the football. We were able to throw it. Our protection has to get better. I think our O-line gave up a couple of those 4 sacks. The rest of it has to be with somebody else. But in protecting the quarterback, you have to have a whole lot of people, the entire offense, protecting that quarterback, whether it be getting open on a route faster, whether it be the back, the tight end, the offensive line, the quarterback throwing it. So we're getting closer, yes. We should. We should be getting better each week. And we always, any team that I'm the head coach of or was the O-line coach, we want to establish a physical mentality where we can run the football. But you can have physicality protecting as well. But our biggest concern right now is we're killing ourselves in penalties, and we have to get rid of that. I know it's a broken record because we've done that for 3 of the 4 weeks, and we've got to get rid of that. We've got to quit hurting ourselves.
Next will be Andrew Hutchison of the Best of Arkansas Sports.
Yeah, Sam, we've seen Rocket out there at practice. I'm just curious how confident you are that he'll be able to return to action this week.
Well, I'm as confident as I've been since the Western Carolina game. I would be lying to you if I told you that I'm sure he's going to play. I feel better about his opportunity to play, but we still have to see how he recovers from yesterday's limited reps that he participated in, and go from there. But he this week, I thought he was further ahead than on Monday than what I thought he would be. It didn't swell up too bad on him yesterday. We'll give him a little less reps today, and then see where he's at on Thursday. But we're obviously hoping he can play.
And you mentioned on Monday that Devin Manuel, he's had multiple injuries and hadn't been able to give you a full week of practice and the strain that you're looking for. I'm just curious, through the first couple of practices this week, have you seen what you're wanting to see from him at practice?
Well, I tell you, Andrew, I think we're getting closer, but he's still not, in my opinion, back to where he was in camp, and he's getting closer. But we've still got a couple more days that he needs to play well for him, for his confidence. We've always had confidence in him, but he's got to get his confidence back, I think, a little bit more, and that's had primarily to do with just injury.
Thanks, Coach.
Next is Mason Chody of HallBeat.com.
Yeah, Coach, I had a question about Isaiah Satania. I know we've talked about the blocking and catching the ball in practice, but from what we saw in fall camp in the spring, he just seemed pretty dominant. I was curious what hasn't translated from practice to in the games on offense.
Well, we've got three pretty good receivers out there as well, right now, and last week was probably his lead. I don't believe he played any offensively. He has had a good week this week. We do have some plays for him this week. I expect him to be out there on offense. But the bottom line is that the guys ahead of him have been playing well too, and we have confidence in Isaiah, and we'll see what we can't work him in the offense this week.
Thank you, Coach.
Next is Jackson Fuller of the Southwest Times Record.
Hey, Sam. We talked about Luke Haas a lot, obviously, the past couple of weeks, but I'm just curious, for a true freshman, are there any, still training wheels maybe for him, or does he feel now like a guy that, there's really no restrictions on what he can do and his impact on the offense as a true freshman?
Well, I think that he's certainly getting better each week, and I think he will continue to. Obviously, his blocking needs some work and some of his route running and things of that nature, but to have a freshman, true freshman, as talented as him, and for the things that he's doing is really incredible. It's hard, especially at that. I coached tight ends in 1996, tackle tight ends at Cincinnati. I thought it was the hardest position to coach because you have to know everything in the run game, everything in the pass game. And to play that position, you have to be special. He's done an incredible job of getting to this point. I think he'll get better and better each week.
And real quick, just kind of following up on the Rocket question, what's it been like kind of watching how to missing these 3 weeks? Obviously, a captain, a team leader, expecting a big year. How has he handled, being out?
The great thing about Rocket is he's a much better person than he is even a football player. Very mature, wants to play, wants to be back, wants to help his team. But he's handled it professionally. And, if he can play, if he feels like he can play, we certainly will. And he's one of those guys you just ask him. And, hey, are you ready to go? And if he says yes, then we're going to play him. If he says no, I don't feel quite that way, then obviously we won't. But he's handled it professionally and been really a big part of practice, even when he wasn't able to participate as much as we'd like for him to.
Thank you, Sam.
Next will be Bob Holt of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette.
Hey, Sam. I forgot to ask you about this the other night or Monday, but I think ESPN reported that you visited Greg Brooks on Saturday morning. I was wanting to, if that's right, wanted to get your take on that. And as close as you are to Greg, I think a lot of coaches on a Saturday morning of a game might not do that. Just wondering your take on that.
Well, we love him, and he was part of our program, and he left in good graces, and he did all the things he needed to do while he was here. We love his mama and papa and his daddy, and we needed to show him, in my opinion, the respect that he deserved. And we're worried about him. We pray for him each and every day. I still talk to his mama and papa and dad every day, and we're praying for him. But to be honest with you, it was the right thing to do, but it's also something that I wanted to do. I wanted to show the family, and hopefully I could get be able to talk to Greg, and I wanted to show the family the respect that they deserve.
And I didn't realize this until Kirby mentioned it earlier, but the travel rosters have been expanded to 74 for SEC games. I know that's not a ton of extra guys, but it's a few. And you said the coaches pushed for it, lobbied for it. What do you think the impact of that is? How good is that some extra guys get to travel?
I think there's a lot to be said with that, Bob. In other words, in the day of transfer portal, the more you can carry, the more you can travel, might help them mentally, help them feel more a part of the football team. Obviously, that's four more guys that you can use for special teams help as well. I just think there's a lot of good with that. Obviously, if you have a solid roster, you're going to have a hard time figuring out what 74 are going. But I do think it's good for programs. I believe it's good for the kids, their mental, and also for an opportunity to maybe encourage a little bit more to stay out of the portal and stay on the football team. So I think there's a lot of things that are good about it.
Thanks. That's all your time, Coach. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, guys.